and let us all do we can to build a better future.
Last night, on last night's live stream, and it has to deal with the fact that, well, there's now talk about what happens if Biden doesn't run again in 2024. I know we're back to this weird concept. So let's play this first video here. Again, huge shout out to Case Study QB. Be sure to follow him on Twitter. He's doing a lot of great work. And also check out his YouTube channel and Odyssey page as well. Let's play this first video.
Wall Street Journal poll. Half of Americans doubt Biden runs again. So the question is, do you think Joe Biden will run again for president? Yes, 29%. No, 52%. Now, I ask you, Guy Benson, will Joe Biden run again?
I don't like making big, bold predictions generally, but my gut on this is no. I'm with the majority of the American people. I don't think he has it in him. I think he viewed himself, and the party has viewed him as a placeholder president. He kind of campaigned that way in the primaries, right? He didn't quite spell it out that explicitly, but he came close. The message was, we need to beat Trump. I'm the guy most likely to do it. Let's move on from the Trump era, and we'll hand the baton. He's 79. I think, without being disrespectful, it's fair to say he has lost a few steps, and some days are better than others. And if people are looking at what's happening in the country right now and thinking 2-3 years from now, this man in his early 80s is going to run for re-election where he can't be in the basement for the whole campaign, I think they're dreaming. Look, it's possible. It's awfully hard, I'd imagine, to just walk away from the most powerful office on the planet. But ultimately, I think that they will do all the song and dance, make all the moves, go through all the motions that he is running, because they have to. They don't want to admit they're a lame duck before they have to. They'll fundraise, they'll do all the things, but ultimately, I don't think this man is going to run again.
That was refreshing to hear. Now, of course, I know it's from Fox News, but let's really address the problem with Biden. He's not all there. He's making a lot of mistakes. He's stuttering and stammering. There's a treasure trove of videos of him acting like a senile old clown in the 2020 primaries and general election, but yet all the Democratic candidates were saying that everyone was qualified and that everyone endorsed Biden. This man is going to be in his 80s. He should be spending his last remaining years at home, eating a ham sandwich and counting trucks, okay? That's what he should do. Because at that age, you're not as sharp as you are. And while this might sound ageist, we have politicians in their 80s and 90s. You know, if Dianne Feinstein's reelected, she'll be 91. What more can she do? Same thing for Nancy. She's running for re-election. She's in her 80s. We've done a lot of videos of her making press conferences, and she's stuttering and stammering. She sounds drunk on the stage. Are these the people who we want to represent our country? They're old. They're out of touch. They're from another time in America's history. A lot of them don't know how to use a smartphone. A lot of them have no idea about the power of the internet. They're surrounded by a bunch of yes people. And this whole idea of Biden being physically fit for 2024? Really? It's downright pathetic. But yet everyone went to bat for him. And look at how much of an embarrassing clown he is. Every time he does a press conference, I'm wondering, oh, geez, how is he going to stutter and stammer? How is he going to make himself look like a clown? What else is he going to do to embarrass himself and this country? But everyone who was so offended by Trump decided to endorse him, go to bat for Biden. How's that working out? Because this isn't the first time we've covered this on Hard Lens Media, where you have Democratic frontrunners, or not Democratic frontrunners, Democratic insiders saying, yeah, it's time we replace the old man. And again, it's a smart decision because he's an old clown. He served his time. He got his little treat of being president. Bernie Sanders cucked out to him, like how he cucked out to Hillary. But it's over now. There's nothing more that Biden can do. He has no new ideas. He has no new imaginations, but I dread to think of the people that are going to run in the Democratic primary, because here on Fox News, they're going to be talking about one Democrat that they do want to see. It's everyone's favorite Democratic senator from West Virginia. Let's play it.
I was a Democrat a very long time ago, actually. 45 years ago.
It's been a
plus.
minute.
It's been a minute.
Yeah.
And I worked for 2 presidents who were Democrats, Reagan and Trump. But I really want to see Joe Manchin run for president as a Democrat. He is my kind of Democrat.
Pause it.
He is my kind of Democrat.
No, it's again on Fox News saying he's my kind of Democrat. He says the hell was Medicare for all. The hell was helping out single mothers. The hell was helping out working class people. The hell was child care. Screw the working class. I'm going to sit on my yacht and say, I listen to you. I care about you, but then ignore you. Yeah. Again, this is what I mean by there's no difference between the Republican Party or the Democratic Party. You know, everyone wants to say that the Republican Party are a bunch of obstructionists and that they are stopping Biden and Harris from implementing their policies and that Biden is somehow the secret progressive that wants to do all these good things. No! A lot of blue dog Democrats, Manchin and Sinema included, were some of the key people that helped, one, derail the progressive movement, because let's face it, the progressives in the Democratic Party and even the Congressional Progressive Caucus didn't do jack to really defend themselves or even push back, because they kept on getting walked over by Biden and Harris and by Manchin and Sinema and all the other blue dog Democrats and Democratic leadership. The Democratic Party will never fight for all these issues. So all that BS we hear from AOC or Bernie Sanders that they somehow care about this or they got this great big plan, no, they don't. So in 2024, now again, this is just Fox News saying, well, we want to see Manchin run, or this Jagoff wants to see Manchin run. It's a bad idea. It's a dumb idea. But it once again proves that no matter how things turn out, the Democratic and Republican Party will not offer any new ideas or anyone that will try and make our lives better, because the two-party system is only dedicated to helping out Wall Street, the big banks, and major corporations. That's a fact. Let's play the rest of it.
Joe Manchin is, I agree with Joe Manchin, probably 90% of the things, maybe even more than that. Mm-hmm. He has shown backbone and toughness. He stood up to Biden. He stood up to the progressives. He calls them all a bunch of socialists. So that's what, come on, Kamala Harris can't be president. She can't possibly. Can't happen, or am I wrong?
I mean,
it could happen.
There are several ways it could happen. That could be an eventuality here. I hope she does not become president. I don't think that she's terribly well equipped for the current job, which is much less important. But here's the issue.
Let's pause it here because, again, they're talking about Manchin, but another contender we have to think about is Kamala Harris throwing her hat in the ring. Now, for those of you who don't remember, Kamala Harris had a huge, big bang of an opening on Martin Luther King Day in 2019 when she made her announcement that she's going to run. But then the campaign fizzled out and went broke. And then Tulsi Gabbard destroyed her in not one but 2 debates. And remember, Kamala Harris, 0 delegates. She got 0 delegates. She didn't even participate in the first primary. She dropped out before the first primary happened. 0 delegates. And somehow she was popular. She's not popular. Voters didn't want her in the primary. She got devastated in the 2 debates that Tulsi Gabbard trashed her around in. And again, the Democrats can't offer anything new. And Kamala's popularity, it's disgusting. It's not even worthwhile to even talk about. Play the rest of the video.
But you know what most Democrats call a Larry Kudlow Democrat?
Yeah.
A Republican. And a lot of them view Joe Manchin that way. Yeah. And look, he is a great representative for his state. That's the only type of Democrat he can be in West Virginia, given how red and conservative that state has become, especially in the last few decades. I'm with you on the tough stance that he's taken on a number of issues.
I mean, he's shown. I mean, you may be right at the end of the day. I'm just saying, though, Manchin has shown the kind of leadership on issues that Biden should have shown.
But his party doesn't want that, right?
Well, but Biden said, I'm a moderate. Vote for me. I am not all these crazy far-left people. And then, who is it? Steve Miller calls it the greatest bait and switch in history, okay? The bait was moderate. The switch was he became a far-left, greeny, radical, big government socialist.
Pause it. Fox News. See, here's the thing. Here's the thing I like about Fox News. They're sometimes so close to being on the mark, like they're close to doing a 3-point shot, right? On the basketball field, on the basketball court, right? But then they drop trowel and take a sloppy dump on the court. That's Fox News, because this whole idea of Biden being this leftist, communist, socialist, Green New Deal. No, he's not. No. My God, he is not. He is as corporatist as they can get. I mean, I'm surprised, again, that they keep on running with this narrative that Biden is this communist. How? He did everything he can to derail the progressive movement and ignore the progressives. He didn't implement any of their policies in 2021. You're just calling Biden a communist because, let's face it, Fox News, that's the only thing you got in your thesaurus. Biden is a corporatist. That's the only thing he is. It's the only thing he ever will be. Biden will never fight for Medicare for all. He will never fight for a Green New Deal. He won't fight for student debt forgiveness. He's not going to fight for medical debt forgiveness. He's not going to make Medicare for all happen. He's not going to invest into our infrastructure. We're spending money on ridiculous regime change wars. He's not going to legalize cannabis. If Biden was all these things, if he was this communist, socialist, liberal, green person, Marxist, I mean, things would be different, but it's not, because that's not who Joe Biden is. The greatest bait and switch was when Bernie Sanders, being the cuck that he was, convinced his voting base that we got to support Joe Biden because he's the most qualified. When Bernie Sanders decided to cuck out and be a coward and not stand up and fight by convincing his voters that the Biden-Harris campaign were going to implement some of his policies, which never freaking happened. None of that happened. And yet AOC has the audacity to say that the Biden-Harris administration was exceeding expectations. And remember, Bernie Sanders, you kept on saying that Joe Biden was your good friend. You're a good friend, Joe Biden, right, Bernie? He's your friend? See, Fox News, or Fox Business to be more precise, when you're calling somebody a communist or a socialist, I mean, you got to show the evidence. What is he doing? What has he done? He's as corporate as they can get. The only reason why right now it's easy to trash Biden because his presidency, his entire administration is an absolute failure, and you're using a word that your viewing audience is familiar with. Socialism, communism, woogie boogie boogie. But Biden is a corporatist. I mean, the dude gave a eulogy to Strom Thurmond. If you don't know who he is, look him up in the history book. And he was in the Republican Party, by the way. Biden's no communist. Let's play this.
Switch, because to get the nomination, you'll remember, he had to go out on the left and say some things which are coming back to bite him, for example, on fossil fuels and gas prices and all of that right now. He had to rush out and stake out a claim far to the left of a Joe Manchin to get the nomination, to prove that he was progressive enough for them to be satisfied as the nominee. Then he tacked to the
can we pause it here real quick? Miguel H. Oh, I know. Occasionally I do look at the live stream. Miguel H. You don't think I didn't see that? Hillary 2024? I know you're joking, but we did joke about it too on the show that she might potentially throw her hat in the ring because there's been people saying that Hillary wants to throw it in there. Yeah, there is that potential too. And God, if we get a repeat of 2016, I don't know how professional I have to be on the show when it comes on the reporting on that election cycle, because I'll be vomiting in my brain just thinking about just everything repeating itself over and over again. I'll probably be getting dementia. But Miguel H., I saw that comment. I saw that comment. You don't think I see the live stream chat, folks? I got some eagle eyes here. Let's play the rest of the video.
In the general election, and then he's governed the way basically that he tried to go in the primary, which is not what most sort of independents, moderates voted for, but it's what was enough for the progressives not to throw a fit when he became the nominee.
Manchin runs, I'm having so much fun with this. I know you're right. I'm just saying. Manchin runs against Bernie Sanders. He runs against AOC. He runs against Elizabeth Warren.
Let's pause it here. Sorry, Faze. Bear with me. I could see AOC maybe throwing her hat in the race for 2024. I could see Elizabeth Warren doing the same thing too. God forbid Bernie does it again. I mean, what? Not once, but twice he cucked out. Third time, tic-tac-toe, 3 in a row. Bernie Sanders, he's nothing but a cuck. There you go. I don't know. I didn't come up with a good rhyme. I'll have to work on that rhyme later on. But it's this is not what we need. And in typical Fox Business fashion, he's saying like, oh, I could see Manchin taking on AOC, Elizabeth Warren, and Bernie Sanders. And in theory, if that was a fair election, I could see one of those three, Warren, Sanders, or AOC, defeating Manchin. But because, remember, during the 2016 and 2020 primaries, there was some, election fraud going on. Manchin will probably steamroll through them because, let's face it, the Democratic Party would rather lose to somebody like Donald Trump than have somebody like Bernie Sanders win. Or AOC. Or even to extent even Warren. So, when he says that, as he's going to say that Manchin steamrolls those three, some people will say, well, how? Because he's not that popular. Look at 2016 and 2020 as prime examples of election fraud. And knowing the fact that Bernie Sanders didn't say anything during 2016 and 2020 and still refuses to acknowledge it, yeah, there you go. Let's play the rest of the video.
He wins the primaries, and boy, would he be tough in the general.
I'll have what you're having, Larry, because that is some powerful stuff. If you think Manchin's going to be the nominee, but look,
I have no idea. I talked to Joe sometimes.
I don't think he wants to be president.
Well, right. I have no reason to believe that in our conversations. He's never mentioned. He was on this show, and we didn't talk politics. We talked substance.
Well, let's agree on
his
this.
agenda, a balanced budget, all the above on energy, strong national security. He's good, by the way, in right to life. I mean, his agenda is old-fashioned blue-collar type Democrat.
So no matter what happens, be a Democrat or Republican, whoever wins the White House, we're not getting anything new, nothing innovative, no new imaginations. Notice, again, balanced budget. Oh, yeah, like any president has a balanced budget. Oh, investing into the military-industrial complex, because let's face it, the military-industrial complex just needs more money. Yeah, nothing new. Nothing is fundamentally changing. Let's play the rest of the video.
There used to be a lot more people like him in public office, not as many these days. But I think if you and I vigorously agree that if a Democrat has to be president, it should be Joe Manchin, that's a liability for him, not a plus within his party, right? Let's just be honest about it.
I say that as a former Democrat. You know, the last Democrat I worked for, it was Daniel Patrick Moynihan.
New York.
Yeah. Who worked for JFK and LBJ. He also was a domestic counselor for Richard Nixon, and he was Gerald Ford's UN ambassador with a strong pro-Israel stance. So Pat was nominally a Democrat, but he worked for Republicans.
A statesman, I think.
He was, and then he ran as a Democrat for the Senate, and he was really moderate to conservative, except once every 6 years he'd come back to New York and have to run as a liberal. Just kind of interesting. I was a research guy for him and a great friend down through the years.
Fuck you. Sorry. That wasn't mature. I apologize for that. But no, it's this is the nightmare we're in, and this is why we got to break away from the two-party system. This is why we got to start building movements and organizations now that are not connected to these jagoffs in the Democratic and Republican parties. This system that we have doesn't work. And this whole idea of either Hillary running, Manchin, AOC, Warren, or even Bernie, what are they all going to do? Are they really going to offer anything to bail us out, help us out? They're going to say things we want to hear. But see, I'm glad that the end segment right there, you had that pundit basically say, oh, every 6 years, that little Democrat that he worked for would have to go back to New York and pretend to be a liberal. What do I say in the show about the Democratic Party? They put on the smiling mask of neoliberalism, say that they care about the issues, say they care about you, but as soon as you vote for them and they get into office, they give you the middle finger and they're never going to look after you again. They're not going to think about you until they need your vote again. That's how it works. And by the way, Republican voters, your Republican politicians do the same thing too. They say words you want to hear. But then when it comes time to, implementing anything to help you out, they'll never follow through with it. So I want to pull up this article here because it's a repeat of what I talked about on yesterday's live stream, but I think it's important because it's pretty pathetic because here's another contender that's being talked about. Bernie insiders give thumbs up to Khanna 2024 presidential election run. Oh my God. Progressive United States Representative Khanna is being encouraged by leading figures behind the scenes, by leading figures behind Senator Bernie Sanders' back-to-back Democratic presidential bids to launch his own run for the White House in 2024 should President Joe Biden not seek another term, Politico reported on Thursday. Representative Ro Khanna, Democrat from California, a 45-year-old Philadelphia-born and Just Us Democrat, backed lawmaker, has represented Silicon Valley since 2017. He also served as a national co-chair for Sanders' 2020 presidential campaign. Gee, it's maybe no wonder why that campaign failed miserably during that election year. Key voices nudging Representative Ro Khanna to make a presidential run, according to the new reporting, include Sanders' former presidential campaign manager, Jeff Weaver, and the Vermont Senator's senior advisor, Mark Longbog. Weaver told the outlet that Representative Ro Khanna would have tremendous appeal among people who supported Bernie, while Longbog said that the California congressman would be a very effective candidate who brings a very powerful message about reconstructing the economy for greater wealth distribution throughout the U.S. Ro Khanna would also be able to grow the big tent that is the Democratic Party. Politico also referenced support for Ro Khanna from Larry Cohen, the chairman of Our Revolution. Remember that group, Our Revolution? The progressive organizing group that emerged from Sanders' 2016 presidential run. Cohen told the Washington Post last year that if Biden doesn't run in 2024, I think absolutely there'll be progressives at least one. Khanna told told Politico he was not going to run for the president in 2024, though he didn't make a statement rejecting a future bid and reiterated his support for Biden if the president runs again in the next cycle. Look, Democrats, grow a backbone if you're capable of, but you're probably giving your marching orders to support the dear leader. Because, I guess you don't want to rock the boat too much after what you saw, what they did to Bernie Sanders. So, audience, let's have democracy in this chat, because I talked about this on yesterday's live stream. Type 1, if you have confidence in the Democrats able to field worthy candidates to maybe garner your attention, not your vote. Type 1 if you think they'll have at least some candidates in 2024 that will garner your attention. Be like, that's interesting. Type 2 if you know that's going to be the same old BS and that you're not going to waste your goddamn time with the Democratic Party. Continuing on. Like Sanders, Ro Khanna also called he's saying words we want to hear. Like Sanders, Khanna also called for Medicare for all healthcare system, blasted big oil over alleged price gouging and its climate disinformation campaign, criticized the Pentagon's bloated budget, and stressed the need for protected and expanded Social Security and demand robust COVID-19 relief for economically devastated Americans. The California Democrat has also come under scrutiny for being one of the biggest stock traders in Congress in 2021, though he recently indicated support for banning federal lawmakers from trading individual stocks. Remember what I covered earlier this week about those politicians that were earning huge profits, especially throughout 2021, but even before the invasion of Ukraine? Ro Khanna is part of that big club. This whole idea that he's this big progressive and Bernie Sanders heir apparent, it's a joke. But let's face it, Our Revolution, Justice Democrats, is a joke. The Bernie Sanders campaigns in 2016 and 2020 were jokes. And the entire field of Democratic candidates, if there's going to be a field of candidates in 2024, will be a joke. We're not going to get anything new. We're still going to be screwed over. And these politicians will have the audacity to tweet out, what does Medicare for all mean for you? What does a UBI mean for you? What does student debt forgiveness mean to you? It means the world, but yet you politicians are able to profit with insider trading. These same politicians are able to give themselves a higher pay raise, have wonderful benefits, and have gold-plated health care. Democratic and Republican parties, the politicians, their insiders, their donors, they dance and drink because they believe you are weak. They don't like you. They don't respect you. They don't think about you. They voted to give themselves more benefits, a higher pay raise. They get insider trading, and they play with us all the time by saying that they're going to fight for us in this election or in that election. Let's have democracy in the chat one more time before we end the show, because we got one more story left of democracy. Type 3 if you have confidence in electoral politics. Type 4 if it's time for something else. With that being said,